All right. Hi, guys. This is my presentation on All This Distant Beauty by Ryan David Jahn. So, a little about the author. Ryan David Jahn is a fairly prolific crime fiction author who grew up in Arizona, California, and Texas. He finished school at 16, and then he worked odd jobs for a while, joined the military, and I quote from his website, muddled about in TV and film. He published his first novel in 2009 and has gone on to publish 5 more, including a novel called Good Neighbors, which was inspired by the death of Kitty Genovese, which, she's that person whose death everyone references when talking about the lack of bystander intervention. And he currently lives in Louisville, Kentucky with his wife and his 2 daughters. Now, for the story itself, I waffled a bit between hard-boiled and noir for the classification, but I ended on hard-boiled for reasons I'll explain now. It has a very straightforward language style, and it takes place in a dangerous setting. There's lots of graphic violence. The main character isn't your traditional PI, but he does have that aesthetic. Remember the scene where the newspaper editor comes to him, very private eye, sitting in his underwear in his office, quote unquote. He's an outsider in both culture and language and in relation to the law. He's a realist, a gritty realist, and he prefers to work alone. The mystery has an unsatisfactory ending since, the person he's trying to save dies, but I wouldn't say the story itself has an unsatisfactory ending. And of course, the story focuses on the gritty realism of modern day and on the journey the protagonist takes, not the solution to the mystery. Now, here is some stuff I found interesting. The story differs from the hard-boiled in a number of ways, but I think these differences serve as subversions of the genre rather than clashing with the genre. It's not in an urban setting. The story mostly takes place in a jungle-filled island, but it's still a dangerous setting. And technically it's not in first person, but the singular third person point of view is very consistent throughout the story, enough to consider it a form of first person. So Noah Beckett, the main character, also has both strong and weak moral code. He admits to stealing money from an evidence locker while working as a cop. Definitely not a good thing, but he also doesn't want to kill a man in cold blood. At first, when he finds out they were burying a teenage girl, he stabs him in the neck, which, valid. Other notes. Does the jaguar count as a partner? I kind of say yes, but not in the traditional sense, not like a Watson and Holmes sort of thing. I just think it's interesting how Jahn juxtaposed our lone hero figure with a wild animal companion. It really strengthened the story, in my opinion. Noah is also heroic in the end, despite not completing his assigned quest, at least to the readers. Sophia dies before he can rescue her, but the girls he rescues definitely see him as a hero, and so do we. I also wondered why Jahn decided to kill Sophia. Was it punishment for her believing the lies of a human trafficker? I'm not sure. And finally, Noah Beckett is constantly smoking. And I forget exactly where I read it, but smoking cigarettes in fiction is usually a sign of moral complexity, if not downright villainy, looking at UX files. That's just something I found interesting. Alright, so here are the discussion questions, which will also be in the forum post, of course, so don't worry about missing them. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and see you in class!